Merry Christmas and welcome back to the MX garage. Last time we worked on the MX-1, specifically the brakes. We didn't manage to make them work. However, this time we're not gonna work on that. We're gonna work on the O2 sensor and some carb tuning, as well as some other minor things. But before that, I have to clean my workshop because it's a mess. So I will start with that, and when that's done, I will tell you the plan. Now that everything is clean, or at least much better than it used to be, I will start taking the hood off, and then we will install the gauge and the sensor. Let's take this. Let's start with the gauge. Since I already have connected the wires, I will just take this plug out, which allows me to take this off. This is what I built in the last episode, so you can go back and have a look. And yeah, I just took a piece of pipe, cut a hole, welded a stud to it. So this is the hole. Put this through. Grab the wire. Put this on. Click and click. Dip it a bit. And move this. Make sure it's somewhat straight. Now I need to figure out how I'm gonna wire it. What I wanted to do is use one of those switches I have installed over here. I'm not gonna run this all the time and drain the battery. I can just turn it on, see the voltage and the air-fuel ratio, and see if it's dialed in. Now I just need to see which of those switches I should use. Basically, I have three sets of wires: ground, power, and signal. The ground wires I combined and will end up in the blue wire. The power I combined and end up in the red one. And the signal I just put together. It's the signal coming from the sensor to the dash. I actually have something here which I rigged up back then, which I'm gonna reuse for this purpose. Now I got a multimeter because I built this over a year ago, probably closer to 2 years ago, and I don't quite remember what I have to do. So I take the multimeter, put it on the ohm signal, then press on mode. So there's a little sound wave, and I think now it should. So now I can check. So. Okay, that's the third one. So if I now flip the switch, great. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I might change it in the future, but for now, I will just. Yeah, I pulled too hard, so now exactly that button is off. Just taking off the dash, then I can actually access all this. By the way, my hand is mostly fine again, except for my little finger. I don't know if I use it for something, it often hurts, but it's not as bad anymore. Back on. I won't put the screws back in case I mess it up again. Now that I have it open, I also noticed that this connector fell out. So I put it back in. What that does, you will see in the end. Right. This red wire, I don't know if you can see it, this is a wire I use to power everything, so I need to connect that one. The way I designed my electric circuit is that I have this main switch, which can either be in the 0 position, then everything is off, down, then it's from the motor, and up, then it's from the battery. So this is then connected to this panel over here. If I do like this, you can see nothing shines, but if I do like this, it turns on. And then this one turns on. So if I click it again, it gets off. And this one is also, I can also do like this. 12.2 volts, sounds very realistic. I haven't measured the battery, but I think it's around that. So next up, I have to connect this pipe. To connect that, I will remove the pipe I previously installed here. So I will have to take this off and then I can access the thing. So let me do that first, then I will catch you. I took off the cap and now it looks like this. As you can see, I added a little bit of a pipe here, so I extended the carburetor forward so it wouldn't interfere down here. This pipe I will now exchange with this. However, the sensor is quite tall. I took it all apart so I can take this little pipe out. It's a bit longer than the new one, but I'm sure that I can make this fit over there. I put the new pipe in, and as you can see, there's no space here, so I will have to make a little cut around here. After that, I will be able to fit this one in without taking anything off. I cut a little piece of the metal out and installed the pipe and the sensor. This is how it looks now. It's sticking a little bit further out, but I think that's okay. I put it all back together, I think. And I'm gonna put the choke, gonna start it. So right now it's slightly above lean. What that means is that I have to take the carburetor apart and do some adjustments. The good thing is that the CT sensor works, and that's all I want to confirm right now. Before I get to carb tuning, I have to figure out my throttle wire and get a proper solution, because what I have right now is simply not good enough and it won't last. I finally mounted my throttle permanently, and it looks maybe a little bit too over-engineered, but the reason why I have a piece of chain here is so that this piece can pivot, because I had it in the past that I would connect the wire to a point, and on that point it would pivot constantly, and then after 2 or 3 hours of driving it would break. That would be quite annoying, but I think this seems good. And also I took one of the air filters out just to check, and it opens completely and parallel to the angle of the footrest, which means you can't push it too far even when driving on really bumpy terrain. It's the next day. Yesterday I finished the throttle pedal, so now actually the throttle works, and today we're gonna continue, or actually start with the proper carb tuning. Let's see how far we get, but let me explain you the things I can adjust and what I will start with. This is my setup. I have 2 performance carburetors. The main difference between a normal carburetor and a performance carburetor is this pipe. But let's start with the basics. So basically every carburetor has the idle screw, this screw. When you look in here and I move the throttle, you can see this flap is going up and down. What the idle screw does is adjust the default position. So now it's moving up. I hope the camera is picking it up. And now it's moving down. This allows you to control the RPM in idle. Then we have this little screw. This is the fuel mixture screw, meaning that this controls how much fuel that goes in and how rich or lean the engine will be. These are the basic functions every carburetor has. This one is because it's a performance carburetor, meaning when there's a lot of air going through, then there will come extra fuel into the carburetor and into the engine, so it doesn't run lean. In a setup like this, with this style of carburetor, you can see the flap is not rotating but moving up and down. But there is this brass pin, and this one is tapered. What we will do is not change the jets of either of those. What we will do is change the default position of this brass tube. Since this, if it's further up, it will let automatically by default more air through, and that's what we need. We need a more rich mixture in idle. For that, I will undo those 2 bolts, take the assembly out and adjust it. Here we go. It's this carburetor here. I will take the 2 bolts out. So now you can see this a little bit better. And I can take the entire assembly out. What I need to do is get this wire out in there. Can you see it? Here we go. It was meant like this. And now I can remove the needle. I hope the camera is picking it up. This is the needle. And there's some different positions here where I can have this ring set to. And by adjusting that, I will get either more or less fuel. So now I moved it a couple of steps further down. I can still go one step further down. And by lowering this piece, I effectively move the needle further up, meaning that there's more fuel being able to pass by the needle. So I will try that setup. Of course, I will have to change both of them. I hope it recorded. I got this assembled again. So now I can drop it in, get these nuts back in, and do the same on the other side. Let's do the same with the other one. So this is how it looks like the other one. So you can see there's an end where it has an opening. The way I did it before is just hold it like this and then push it down. You can just get this one off like this. You see it's on the ring. I press down on it. And then I turn it around. And press like this. And now you can see it's further down. So it will lift more, meaning more fuel coming in. This end goes over like this. Then I have to, you see this wire has to go through this. There's a little hole. Now you just get this in. It's hooked and like this. And here you can see a close-up of what I will have been struggling with. The thicker end has to go into this hole, and I can only achieve that by compressing the spring. But when I had it compressed, it was difficult to get it all the way in. You can probably see this dial here. Yes. Right now it's not showing anything. I will wait with turning it on until I have the motor on. Yeah, let's give it a go. Just do some small adjustments. Half, 1, 1.5. So I'm just doing some pre-adjustments since basically I changed a lot by changing what I did. What I'm doing now is setting the fuel mixture screw, the little one. I screw it all the way in and then I screw it 1.5 rotations out on both. So I know that they're set the same, and that is a position which I have from the internet, which should always result in at least starting the engine, and then you can go from there. If that is 100% true, I don't know. And I actually will also put the idle screw further in, so it's revving higher. And then when the engine is running, I can dial it down until a point before it's about to stop. Let's try this again. Wow. I think it runs much better. It's right under and in the end it was right above. So I think that's actually good for now. Great. I did something and it actually... Shouldn't have said that. And the moment I said that I actually worked, the camera turned off. So, but that's great. I did something and it actually worked. What I did before I started it was setting this to 1.5 rotations and this to the same amount of opening as this and quite open. That's why it was starting up with, I think, like 2.2 thousand RPM. And then I dialed it down to 1700. I know, the engine needs to be warm to do a proper tuning, but at least I can have a little bit calm in the belly, how we say in Denmark, ro i maven, that the engine is not running lean anymore. So when I do the tests with the brake and stuff, I don't need to be as careful as I should be otherwise. But now that we got to the end, let me show you what the switch was for. Let me start with a different switch. I also have this one, which is easy to pull actually. This is my emergency lights, which are actually mandatory when you have to stop on track, then you have to put those. And as you can see, they're quite bright. However, we had a small change in the rules that we need to have one in the back, because typically that's what you will see. So I will add a third one. Technically I could remove those, but I think I will just keep them and put one in the back. But let me show you what the other ones were for. So this one is for the headlights, and this one is for the underglow. Let me kill the lights so you can see it better. I can also control them with my remote. And if I really want to, I can also turn this one on and kill all the lights. And since you watched until the end, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Maybe consider subscribing. Goodbye!